share you the link.
Yeah, I see this meeting is being live streamed and meeting is now on YouTube.
Live.
Yeah.
Okay, one moment. Let me get the link. Got it. It's here. Share you the. Okay, sorry. Okay, where is? Okay, the link is here. I'm sharing it to our DMs.
Okay, awesome.
I'm going to find the tweet.
Yeah, I'm actually looking for it as well.
Can you find it?
Yep.
Okay. Because if not, I'm going to drop you the link. Okay. Moment. Yay! Thank you once again for joining me here on Slice of Life. Taffany?
Yeah,
Okay.
whichever. I prefer Taff, but you know, that's only for special people. So you get to use that.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, it is wonderful to have you back once again and with very interesting topic we're going to address. But before we dive into it, I would like give you a platform, please share a little bit about yourself, your work, and what do you do, and all that.
So hi everyone. I'm Taff, known as the Tribe Goddess on social media handles. I'm a tarot and oracle reader. I also am an energy worker and just like overall spiritualist. I am almost an aromatherapist, but I have a lot of different things that I do, so it's hard to do a profile on me really. But the reason why I'm here is mostly for the spiritual work that I do. So this is exciting. Yeah.
Exciting. Yeah. And yeah, Taff, you do very amazing. Like when I'm looking at your page and all the messages are spreading, it's just amazing, very authentic energy that I'm feeling from you. And I really, really love that. Like, yeah. That's why I think you are perfect person to have to do topic as well, spiritual integrity, because integrity from what I'm feeling is always like, be authentic, be yourself, like even though you can't be 100% yourself in the business world, in the social media world, but the core part of the authenticity, I think, is integrity. Like what do you do? Like, there's something that you hold on to, the values. So I think you are physical embodiment of that. Like, I really
so much. If you hear some like scattering around, it's my cat. Everyone just ignore that. His name is Jasper and he's awesome, but right now he is going a bit crazy, so just ignore him. Thank you so much for your words. I really appreciate that you value the work that I do. I value the work that you do. I think since the beginning, since we've known each other, there has been like a mutual understanding of like we both are coming to the table with trying to come to the table with integrity, because it's not that we've always done things this way, at least in my case. So when I first, so I've been a spiritual person my whole life. It was only maybe about 5 years ago where I started to kind of take it more seriously. But within my journey, at least when I decided that I was going to start sharing that I'm spiritual, because there was a point where I was a little bit ashamed of it. I thought that people would think of me in a different way. Like I had a lot of things that I was working on. So when I did start, there was I had a huge issue with my voice and valuing my voice. I felt like a spiritual person needed to look a certain way and be a certain way and share messages a certain way. And so a lot of what I did in the beginning was like, I would be reading someone else's thing and then try and like emulate or try and like share that information as if it was like, it just came to me, like I would do things like that, but it didn't feel right. Right. It didn't settle very well with me, but it was only because I didn't fully believe that what was coming from me would be valuable, that people would listen. Obviously spirit kept talking to me and was like, hey, you need to start being yourself. And that was actually harder than I thought it would be, because there were points where I thought I knew myself. I thought I knew myself. I was like, okay, this is the person I am. But as I was doing my shadow work, obviously I was unearthing all these things. I was like, wow, I'm actually not, I'm really not as aware of how I'm presenting to the world and things like that. So I did take a break from social media for a couple of years to just say, okay, I need to figure who I am out, because a lot of what I was putting out was it was almost like I was doing it to be seen, and I was doing it for like that validation, right? Because at first a lot of my content wasn't as spiritually backed, and I think after that break is when I really saw myself being like, no, I need to, one, be honest, because that's part of integrity. Part of integrity is having principles, being honest. And so that's really what I've been trying to embody throughout my business and throughout life. And I think that ties into, I think at least if there's anyone who is working on, starting a spiritual business or just like content, a business, whatever it is, I think if your starting point is being honest, right? And being honest, but also like at the same time, maybe work on understanding yourself first, right? Because that's going to help you come to the table knowing that you're valuable, knowing that what you have to say has merit. I think work on understanding yourself first, and then go out into the world, because it does make a huge difference. Because you're gonna, at every step of the way, you're gonna stop and reflect on what you're doing, and yeah.
I get what you mean. I get what you mean. And I would say like understanding yourself, you probably will feel like, hey, you will never fully understand yourself.
Oh, of
And
course,
that is,
of course.
yeah, that is where we should also give ourselves the room to, like, to change our voice. Like when we find that, hey, this direction is not exactly what I am feeling right now with this new part of me that I have unearthed. This doesn't sound like me. Feel free to change it. That is also part of the integrity, because
Right.
integrity is owing to yourself, like, that part, like that, how to say, the part to really, when you want to show up as you,
Yeah.
like you can't show up to be integrity, like integrity, you can't show up with that when you are trying to, like, as you said, be trying to be someone else, trying to emulate someone else's energy. It does
Yeah.
not work that way. Yeah. And I think the community all around us been trying to, like, beat us into, you have to go to this box. Spiritual
Yeah.
person, what is spiritual person? This box that you have to fit in perfectly. But
Definitely.
which one of us is perfectly fit into the box itself? Like, no one.
No one. Yeah, no, you're totally right. And I like what you said about being able to change your voice, right? Because it's I mean, part of this work is understanding that we are evolving at every minute of the day. We are constantly evolving. And that I love that. I love that so much, because that is actually something that I struggled with, was being like, okay, people know me through this lens. And now that I'm changing that lens, like, there was a lot of, how are people gonna perceive me? Like there was a lot of like, oh, and then also, I'm part of the generation where we didn't we grew up with social media, but we also had flip phones. Like we still, old people will come to me and they're like, do you know what a cassette tape is? And I'm like, I used to listen to cassette tapes, like it's not that far off. So for us, half of our lives were without that social media, and then the other half is now social media based. So I've been on social media since I was a teenager, and there are a lot of things and views and things that I probably said that I'm sure I wouldn't have been proud of in the past. And part of that letting go is also understanding that I've worked really hard to change, to change and to hold myself accountable. I don't need anyone to see that, but I need to be able to see that. So that's actually what broke the camel's back in a way for me to be able to break free of that, because I was just so afraid. I was like, oh my gosh, what if I, because a lot of my stuff started going viral, and I was like, oh no, what if they find something from 2000 and whatever? And I was just like, and at some point I was like, wait a minute. One, I'm allowed to change. I should be allowed to evolve. I should be allowed to have my view. Like everyone should be given permission to change their mind. I think a lot of people, when they talk about this thing of cancel culture and et cetera, I think a lot of the time people are coming at those people because they haven't held themselves accountable, because they aren't, and because they have not changed their views, or they're not willing to be open to a conversation about it, because I'm open, like, if we're having a conversation, I'm open to changing my mind. And I think that's why I was able to now be unafraid moving forward with what I'm doing.
That's, I love that. Like, oh my God. Like, yeah, I want to touch on is on the cancel culture, because I personally feel that cancel culture, when you are canceling someone, you are not giving the person a room to change. Like when people are jumping into cancel, they are basically trying to say that everything that the person said or do or did, okay, they're all wrong. Right. Even though basically most of the things that the person did before, they align, but it's just that it's one thing that they do not agree with, and then they jump in and kind of like cancel the person,
You see, yeah, it's a tricky, part of me kind of wishes that cancel culture actually made some kind of difference. that for me, at least when it comes to people who are being transphobic, homophobic, racist, whatever it is, or if they're beating on women, like I wish there were repercussions for the cancel culture, but most of the time they aren't. Unfortunately, they aren't. And for me, I have canceled people in my mind because I'm uncomfortable, continuing to indulge in their work because of their actions. But I have stopped, because there was a point where I was just like, man, there was a point where I was on the internet just like not healed. There was a point where I was like, but from there have been points where on Twitter people have tried to cancel me over something that they took out of context. Something they took out of context, or they're trying to paint me in a bad light because of I don't know, I don't know why they why would they do that. And obviously for me, I disengage. I don't even bother myself trying to, I just disengage, because a lot of the time people who do that, they're not willing to hear you out anyway. Most of the time they're just there to bring you down. So, I know myself. I know I know what I meant to say when I said this and said that. um I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong, but a lot of it comes from a place of like really zeroing in on one section of someone's life and then deciding that they're a bad person. And I mean, for some, I mean, there's some where it's like celebrities that have been like consistently doing really bad things. That's where I'm like, okay, I fully agree, let's try and hold them accountable. But if you have someone who, you know, like this minuscule thing that you probably didn't get what they meant, and then people blow it up in proportion, I think
Yes.
it's a bit tricky.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say yes. Accountability culture. If we can cultivate that, make people to kind of like not make people, but allow them to take accountability. Am I frozen? Are you frozen? Oh no.
So,
uh, the part on accountability culture, I would agree with it. Like
yeah.
that would bring conversation and that will bring growth. That will bring changes.
We
Cancel
hope.
culture.
So we hope. I am also aware that not everybody is willing to take accountability.
True.
Yeah. I just wish that there was a way for us to, I guess there'll never be a way really like to filter out what is more serious versus, I wish there was like more of a way to filter that, but I'm not sure if there is. As humans, I think we just have to keep it moving. But it is, I think that it is part of our responsibility to if someone is being, really bad to people, it is part of our responsibility to try to say, hey, here's your chance to be held accountable. And if they aren't doing that themselves, now we can say, okay, I don't want to engage with you anymore. You can decide, for example, like obviously like something like the R. Kelly cases, that's something that's extremely serious and extremely devastating. And for me, I can't. Like like the minute I hear an R. Kelly song, I just wanna, bleh, just it feels icky to me. And so if someone that I am engaging in their content and they have R. Kelly things, it makes me question like where are your values? And and I guess maybe it's one of those things where it's like put it to the side, but I still think that there are some people who really, really need to be held. I don't know, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know how we can do that as a people. But I guess I feel like we're veering off into it. I mean, it's part of it. But I think one of the things that I wanted to really touch on is that tweet that we talked about how some energy workers and readers like talk about their clients and other readers in a difficult light. So when I was starting, I didn't really like, I wasn't like part of the spiritual community or whatever. And I mean, even right now, I mean, I am, but I'm not, I'm not really like picking and choosing based on that. I'm not being like, oh, the spiritual community. I don't know. Add me, don't add me. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just doing my thing. Yeah. So and when I finally tapped in, I was like, there's so much drama. Like there's so much drama. I was like, wow, this is so dramatic because there was a lot of like this spiritualist said this message that I gave this client was wrong, and there was like, no, there was like, blah, 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 and I just kind of watch because because I mean, I feel like as an energy worker, as someone who works with energy, I fully understand that giving your energy to things like that is draining. It's draining, and I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know. I personally don't think it is. But also I've heard about people having group chats with like they talk about different spiritualists and how, and I'm just like, why? Why would you do that? What is the purpose of doing that? But I also know that there's a duality to everything, which means that there's gonna be people who are gonna try and put people down. I just feel like if you are an energy worker or if you're a reader or whatever you are, you should try and embody qualities that bring out the best in you, in your clients, and the people around you, your community. Like, how is that helpful for you to go and gossip and do all these things? You know, like even for me, I remember when I first started reading, some of the readings were just so, some of them were a bit like crazy, and I was very tempted to tweet about them, not, using their name, of course, but something in me, it was like, wait, this has nothing to do with you. You need to detach yourself from the messages, right? Because when I'm relaying messages, it's not me, I am simply, taking what I'm getting and relaying it, right? Because once I do that, now I've put myself on a pedestal. Now I'm saying I'm the only person that you can get that message from, and it's not true. Everyone can get messages on their own. But I think that it just rubs me the wrong way when people do stuff like that. I just think that one, it's also dangerous for your clients, I think, in a way, because now you've kind of opened up their issues or opened up their, you've opened up their issue to the world now. And yeah, again, from an energy perspective, it's just not right to me, but that's just my opinion.
I know, I feel that. I think that is when we feel called to like kind of like feel like we want to tweet about the problem or the issue in the reading is because when we feel like we have the right to judge that person for who they are. Because basically I would say like maybe I thought differently back then. I think I thought differently back then, but right now I did learn that I do not have a right to judge anyone because it's their life. It is the way that they live their life, and I'm not living their life. So how can I have a say on how they live it?
100%. Yeah.
So
no, it's like same. I thought a lot of the reason why I would want to tweet about it is because I was thinking, oh my gosh, like why would anyone like think this way? And that's a judgment, right? That's a way of saying like you don't think like me, and therefore you are a bad, crazy person. And it's wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah, that is relate back to cancer culture a bit. That is basically cancer culture. You don't think like cancer.
Oh yeah, no, I think with anything, it's just one. I think for me, the way that I, decide or level it or whatever is once you've crossed over to being intentionally harmful, and the word intentionally is, very important. So once you've crossed into I'm being intentionally harmful to people, that's when I'm like, pause. Pause. We're not gonna do that, you know. And it's different if you know, maybe have said something that you regret, or if you say something that you may have not have had a lot of knowledge on and are willing to be open to changing your mind. That's so different from sitting and being like, I am gonna stick to this very harmful thing that hurts people on a daily basis, you know. And for me, like, I am a queer Black African woman, so I, from a sociology lens, you know, there's a lot of there are a lot of points in which I have learned about oppression and have been oppressed. Like, there's so many things, and so once you get to that point, now I need to start to check you. Now I need to start to be like, hey, I'm gonna like defend defend my people, defend whoever people, whoever it is, you know. That's when I feel like I'm justified in being like, hey, think about it, you know. Yeah.
And I think what you are presenting, that is a very good boundary. I don't think that is like cancel culture. Like
Right.
yeah, that is the different. The boundaries, healthy boundaries is needed, especially in the social space where everyone can come together and play in the same space. So there will be someone who kind of like rub you in the wrong way, like in the way that is very harmful, where you do not agree with at all. Yeah, then you set the boundaries, and this person do not have to be in your life. I think that is healthy.
Yeah. And then also just to validate, because I think there are a lot of harmful ideas out there, and I think the majority of people actually kind of lean that way. Like, you'll see a tweet that's very, you know, misogynistic, or you'll see something that's really harmful, and you'll see all these retweets and all these like, you know, I agree, and it gets scary because you're like, wow, you know, a lot of people think this way. But it makes sense just based on the way the world works, that not everybody is thinking of integrity, of working on having integrity, and like honoring themselves in that way. So I think sometimes for me, at least with my platform, sometimes something will rub me the wrong way, but it's not that it's directed directly to me, but I'll feel the need to say something, because there also needs to be a thought out there that validates the people who are harmed by this. That's, at least that's my thinking. That's my thinking. Like, I'll give like, you know, like, okay, for example, if someone being homophobic, I'll be like, hey, you're being homophobic, you know, like, hey. And part of that is to say, like, that person may not agree with me that they're being homophobic, but I also need I need people who see that to also know that they're not crazy in the way that they're thinking, that it's not just them who are offended by the thing. And harmful, it's harmful. I wish so I think that the problem as well is that when people think of, oh, oppression, they're like, oh, it just means like your life is being disadvantaged in some way. If you learn about like the statistics and sociology, right, it's not that, it's more than that. It's like people are losing their lives because of stuff like that. And so that for me is what, you know, keeps that fire and, you know, that like mini activist in me going to say, you know, take this more seriously than you. It's not, you know, people like, it's not that deep, you know, sometimes it's not, but sometimes it is. Yeah.
Causes and consequences and all this. I like what you're bringing up, because yeah, I was like just writing this down just now as you're talking. Also, integrity is equal to not being people pleaser. like you have to say the hard truth at the right time, because
Right.
that is aligned to you. The most important thing is that the thing that you're doing is aligned to you, that you feel it, instead of, hey, because everyone else agree to this, so I'm just going to jump on the bandwagon and agree to this because I don't want to piss off everyone else. So that is integrity. That's basically how, like, what it is. Like, it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I fully agree, especially the people pleasing thing. I think, oof, I think we've all had to heal that side. And I'll find myself, well, actually, I don't find myself doing that anymore. That's a lie. No integrity here. I'm not showing integrity right now. I was gonna say that I'm still working on it, but then I remembered, like, I haven't in the recent year or two been people pleasing. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I've made some progress. And I think obviously, as we know, at least from, with healing, people pleasing comes from a place of a lot of the time of our our inner child, and what they, what our childhood experiences were. At least for me, like it was like really like, oh, I felt rejected by a parent, and now the way for me to feel like I could be accepted was to keep this thing of like, okay, I want people to see me this way, or I want people to value me. And it starts with you. It starts with you. You need to know whether you need to self-please. I don't know, that sounds weird. You need to start with how you feel first, and start with valuing yourself first, and that is going to spread out. Funny enough, this year I don't really set goals for a year, but for some reason this year I did, and I prayed about em- embodying the energy of the sun. So I was like, I want to be the sun. I want people when they come to me, I want them to feel, warm. I want whatever good energy exists in me, I want to spread it out freely, right? And then, as like the sun is something, it's such a giant thing, and it's self-sustaining, like it just exists. And so that's what I wanted to do for myself. And I think that it plays into the integrity part, because at every step I need to be like, okay, am I being warm? Am I being loving? Am I allowing someone to shine on their own? Like there are questions that come up as I go, and I think that it's really helpful to really sit down with yourself and decide, okay, what type of person do I want to be? Because people look at my account and they think, oh, this is a spiritual account. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's me. It's
Yeah.
me. As I've grown, my account has grown with me. It's grown with me, not, yeah, and not, and so now, even if you're seeing my content change, it's because I'm changing. And I think that it's exciting, but really setting a type of goal for how you want to walk in. Like when I walk in, I want to be a light, like I just want to be like the sun. I want to be, you know, high energy. I don't know. I'm yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
been
love how. Hmm?
it's been fun. It's been fun to
I,
do.
I love the way that you're putting this, and the way you kind of like setting yourself like a goal, like a direction, and
Right.
checking with yourself every step of the way. Are you moving in that direction? I think that is very kind of like a step by step way for,
Mhm.
especially new beginners who are trying to find their integrity. Like how can they find their integrity? Because integrity is not something that I can tell someone, not you and me can teach them. It's
Right.
something that we all have to discover for ourselves what is right for us. So
100%.
it's a step by step. Like if you have a goal, you want to become a certain person by, like, end of the year, okay? And your every action from here, you have to check with yourself, is that aligned to what you are trying to achieve? And if it's not, then it is your choice to whether you want to follow, that path or this path. There's
Right.
no wrong.
And being open to it changing. Yeah. Because we talked about goals the other day on the TL, and we're talking about how some people like hold on to their goals with all the might, maybe halfway through the year, I decide I want to be the moon, like who knows, and so allowing yourself that space to be able to shift your path, because I definitely would have never seen myself where I am right now. I actually had someone who's like a big sister to me yesterday sat me down and was like, I'm so proud of you. Like I would have never seen, after everything that you've been through, I would have been, and I cried. I was like, oh my God, thank you. Because, having that allowance for you to just flow with where life moves you will open you up to so much more than you could ever imagine. This time last year, it felt like I had nothing. Like, I felt like, I had a good support network. I was so grateful for that. But, a lot of things I felt like I was being pulled under the rug. There was a lot of karmic things that I was healing. And you already know what I'm talking about. And it was a lot. And now, I'm just like, wow, I just kind of allowed myself to flow in this direction. I wasn't set on like, okay, I need to do this. I don't need to do anything. All I have to do is exist and keep existing in the direction that feels good to me. And I think that people just need to do that. Just do that. I actually wanted to talk about, I have an aromatherapy business. And our main product is aromatherapy candles. And before I graduated college, I was like, I don't know if I'd ever want to run a business. Both my parents are entrepreneurs. Like I grew up in an entrepreneur household, like business, that type of thing. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. And then I was also really angry with capitalism at the time. I was really angry. I was like, capitalism. And then I was like, how can you run a business and not exploit people? There was like so much going on in my mind in terms of like, what is my relation to money? There was a lot going on. And when I was called, because I love candles, but I didn't love them that much. I loved them, but I wasn't like oh my gosh, like I'm gonna get a candle. Like I would get a candle, be like, oh, this is nice. I wasn't really like that intense. And the message came very clearly from Spirit, you need to make candles. And I was like, this is so weird. And I just started going, and I birthed this business. But as I was starting, I had to decide for myself, what are my intentions with this business? What do I want to bring to people? And people always say, oh, like you need to be, get into commercial market, get into this, you need to start making like 1,000 candles a week, you need to start doing this. And I'm like, first of all, I don't need to do anything. I don't need to do anything. And part of the magic that I love about my candles is that they're handmade. There's intention in how they're made. So I was like, I'm not gonna just get a machine to make my like it didn't make sense to me. And I can't, at every point of my business, I ask myself, what are my intentions here? And for me, I always come back to bring to make aromatherapy accessible, to educate people on aromatherapy, because it changed my life. Because before I already practiced aromatherapy, but it changed a lot of my life. And I want that for others. So I've turned down so many deals. I've turned down working with different people because they weren't in the same headspace as me. And I think integrity has you, as you're working on your integrity, also understand your, I think that it's good that we are talking about boundaries,
Yes.
because it allows you to also continue doing that work, and not to throw you off. Because there were so many times where someone would be like, oh, let's just like get money, and I was like, I care about making money, of course. Like, I want to be able to pay my employees, I want to be able to get new supplies, there's things going on, but it's it's not about it. It's not about it. It's a plus, but it's not about it. It was never about it. And that's why, even though, because I was the first, I believe I was the first person in the country to do aromatherapy candles, and now 2 years later, there are people popping up. And yeah, there are people popping up. And at first I was just like, oh my gosh, why? Like, people, like, boo, like, you guys are stealing my idea. And, it does hurt a little bit, of course, because like people like rush to the new thing. But part of me was like, you know what? I'm glad people are getting access. That was my goal, was to have aromatherapy be accessible. So my goal is still happening. It's still happening, but of course, like, my pocket is hurt a little bit, but it's fine, And integrity is just having respect as well. Just respect for you, for yourself, respect for the craft, respect for your clients, respect for your peers, and that's, yeah.
Respect is a big one. And as you're talking about it, I was reflecting a little bit on my own business and all that. Yeah, I think I'm similar as you, like energy work. I love energy work. I used to get a lot of energy work, but sometimes energy work can be draining, and I'll be like, I don't want to do it. There is this moment. And I do think that what got kind of like what set me like as an integrity person, business, spiritual business person, is that the part of it that I realize is helping people. And yeah, although like I'm teaching people, and sometimes I be like you, like I'm teaching other people like how to do energy work and so on, and then they launch the energy work, and I start to like, oh man, they are stealing my ideas.
Why are they
Yeah.
doing better than me?
Yeah, sometimes you get that. Okay, but
Yeah.
in a way, it's like you, like as you sit with yourself at the end of the day, you still feel that, hey, I'm achieving what I want to do. Like I'm helping other people. Like,
Yeah.
although it's not through my hand, although I am not the one who is like healing, like doing the healing energy session with them, but those are my students, and they are out there,
Man,
they are thriving, they are they are doing their work, and yeah,
man,
that
the day that I take a class from you, I am going to scream. Paige, I've been thinking about this for months, okay? Like, the day it happens, I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, I always see you like posting your thing. I'm like, one day.
you know, yeah, so I think the integrity is like at the end of the day, does your action align with your intention,
Yeah.
and are you betraying that core intention that you have for something else, like fame, like money, like recognition? Because at the end of the day, it's not about all those are side things that comes along with what you do, but it
Right.
never be all about that. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, it can't, I mean, even as a reader, I have to, I have to really, well, actually, I think as a reader right now, I am like focused on just help people, help people. And at first it used to drain me, it used to drain me a lot, and I didn't know how to replenish my energy. It was a lot. But now I think that as I know how to replenish, I also know I also how do I explain this? Like it's almost like the idea of helping people is the thing that like keeps me going, like it's like, okay, this is awesome, like I get to do this. And so there's a lot of excitement, whereas before I think I was treating it like a duty. Yeah, I was treating it like, I am the chosen one. Like, I think that I think that in the beginning, and I did that because I ran away from spiritual stuff for so long, and my ancestors, my guides kept like trying to drag me back. So once they finally got me, I was like, fine, I am Jesus. Like that's kind of like where I was going, and I had to just like, obviously spirit humbled me, as the universe will always humble you when you're on the wrong track, guys. Like just take that into consideration. So obviously I was humbled, and I had to really like return back to earth and be like, okay, no, like you are just a human, and remember that you remember why you're here, and remember why you're doing this work. So man, to be young and confused is so fun.
Yeah, it's a journey. Like it's like really a journey. Like wow. And I'm proud of you. Like look at how far you've come.
No, this is fun. Man, I'm just so excited for what's next. Like I have no clue, but I know it's gonna be great.
Yeah, me too. And I would be like, going through, so-called the shit. You're going through the shit, you come out the other way. Are we doing that again? Let's do it. I'm excited.
Like, okay, let's get it done. Let's go.
I think the universe, all our guys are looking at us like, are they okay? Through it, and they'll be like, let's go again. Like, are they okay?
Let's go. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I mean a lot of, because I think I was talking about pain yesterday. I actually talked about it with Red Ink Tarot. Not sure if you
Not
hear
sure I
me.
caught that part on.
I don't know them like personally, but we in our DMs always have these like very interesting conversations about life. And it's never planned, like it's really just like this is what I think, and I learn a lot from them as they learn from me. And we're talking about how as human beings it's like, at least I don't know, I don't know if it's like a Western model or not. It might be, because I know a lot of cultures that intentionally inflict pain on themselves. But I think the Western model really teaches you that like pain is evil, pain is the devil, like they teach you that like pain is something that you need to cure right now. And if you don't cure it, then you are useless. And there's a lot of like weird stuff about it. And I was talking about how like we get to decide what our pain means to us.
True.
And so when we're going through these shitty cycles, from people used to look at me very weirdly, because they'll just see me like going through the most like going through, like everyone knows, Taff is going through the most right now. And then when I come out of it, I'm just like, wow, I was so grateful for that moment. Just looking at me like, what is wrong with this person? What is wrong with you? This, like that was so dramatic. And I'm like, yeah. And then, but there were moments that where I was going through a lot, and I was like, that really sucked. Like that was terrible. I saw no value in that experience. So I think that we should be able to define define how we, because obviously like people who live with chronic pain, you can't now come and say you should be grateful for going through, or you should have an epiphany from your pain. It's not fair. I think that everyone should be able to do that. So definitely my guys will be looking at me, staring at me, going through these crazy, crazy moments. They're like, nah, she got this. And I'm like, no, I don't. Help me. Help me. But I get through it anyway.
Yeah, I feel you. My kind of like the lessons and pain that I go through is mostly emotional and mental.
Oh yeah.
But all the time that I gone through it, I'm just like, yay, that was amazing. Like, what's next, guys?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been thrown into physical, mental, emotional, like, I've had to just do it all. So I think whatever's next, like, bring it on. I'm saying this now, but when I'm in it, I will not be happy. I know this for a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we kind of went off topic.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening right now.
Okay. Actually, I was like having that mental note about that. We're talking about like the group chat and so on.
Yeah, that's weird.
Up to now, I still do not know whether that mysterious group chat exists or not. To be honest, I really do not know. Or maybe it's just something that someone make up and then it just spread around. So I do not know about that. But yeah, like it really, like at first, okay, I didn't realize this as well. So I have to admit I partake in that, a bit of like gossiping on things about that. But as soon as it start to drain me, and I will usually like step back from that. But yes, they are. I personally experience, like as the tweet that I say, like experience some energy workers. We are actually like coming to a space. Okay, what started with a topic, a conversation, it can turn into a rant. Ranting is fine, but ranting, I would say ranting, I won't see as gossiping and bitching.
No, yeah, that's different. No, ranting is fine. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like, sometimes because of how we were brought up. So we kind of like, as a human, we kind of like cross the line between ranting about this person and what their energy is, where it connects to you, to bitching about what that person's doing, like that is your own business.
Right.
I think ranting is when the energy affects your energy and then you rant about that thing. Yeah. When
I think it's valid.
I
think it's valid. I mean, I don't know about being affected because your girl is protected, but there have been moments where I'm like, I just don't understand like the way this is, like this feels very different, like weird for me, talking about it. But I think that it's different because what it sounded like to me, because I don't even know if that the group chat thing even exists either. But what it sounded like to me was just that people's character was were being attacked. So like, the gossiping kind of turned more personal than it needed to be. Because I can be critical of you. I can be critical of you and things that you're doing without being disrespectful. And I think that's where the line needs to be drawn, is like, once you start trying to tell me who I am, or start trying to put me into a box without really understanding me, then I have to say, pause. But I also don't care. I don't know. I just I'm on, sometimes I'm on Twitter and I'm like la 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 la, like I'm in my own world, and I'm just like doing my own thing, and I'm like, woo, like, hello, and then I just like mute the notifications of people who don't follow me, and I'm like la 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 la, just talking things, and I see people be like this drama and this drama, and I just like scroll. I'm like, sucks, and then I just keep scrolling. I mean, like, I feel like, as my page grows, there are gonna be people who come through, but I also, for example, there was some spiritual person who, funny enough, later on, I realized that they were also attacking one of the bigger spiritualists that I know on Twitter, and he's on TikTok and stuff like that, and he's really cool. I'm not gonna put his name out there right now because I don't know how he's gonna feel about it. But so this person was attacking this really cool mutual of mine, but I didn't know that it was happening. So when I posted my things, they came out of nowhere. They were like a victim. They were like blaming me, and I was just like, sounds really bad. So I'm just gonna block you, and then I'm gonna mute everything that you say. Like, I was literally just like, you go fight over there by yourself. I'm gonna be here. Because they literally, you know what they did? They screenshotted a tweet from like 5 years ago, of maybe 4 years ago. And then they put it up and they were like, this girl hates black men. And I was like, no, I just want to hold everyone accountable. And y'all were being like not nice to black women. Sorry. And so they took it, and like all our followers like, oh my gosh, you're a, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like, that is so untrue. So they were saying a lot of untrue things about me, like based on that one tweet. And because he had said something disrespectful to me initially. So initially I had posted something that really irked me the wrong way. Someone was being racist to me, and I posted it, right? And they like basically victim blamed me, and I was like, whoa, not on my page, block. And so the minute I blocked them, they just went through they probably scrolled through all my tweets just to find this one. So the lesson, sorry, I talk a lot. It's the Gemini placements. It's the Gemini placement. So the lesson there for me was just kind of letting people do what they want. Sometimes you have to just, because for me, I know that like none of what they were saying was true about me, but I also knew that I didn't have the energy to now defend myself and be like, hey, actually, I didn't have time for it. I don't know where I was going with that story, for being honest, but I think it has part of it is like, I've set my boundary, because they said something very disrespectful to me. I set my boundary, and then they went on to keep trying to, and then when I complained to my mutual, like, I was like, what's wrong with this person? They were like, they've attacked me too. And I was like, you see, now everything makes sense now. Everything makes sense now. So yeah, I don't know. Life is weird. I'm just gonna stop talking now.
Life is weird. I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the experience we get through is weird too, and it is part of life, I guess. So we can chalk it up to.
You're gonna own up to it. It is a part of our experience. especially being hyper visible. You know, I had a huge issue with that. I don't like being seen. Like I like being like in the shadows. But my guys, my spirit keeps being like, hey, you need to be like, since I was a child, they'll be like, you have to be at the forefront. And I'm like, no, let me be in my shell because I'm Cancer. Let me, oh, there's a crab. This is a crab, by the
I noticed
way. So Cancer, like I was like, I want to go into my shell. I don't want to be seen. And I think when you're hyper visible, you need to be open to people trying to tell you who you are and what you believe, and for you to stand in what you know. Just
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. And you can only do this when you really, really, really know yourself and you know which direction you're heading towards. Otherwise, it's so easy to get lost. So easy
Oh
to get lost.
yeah, no, it is like boundaries. Like especially emotionally, I think you're really gonna like someone's gonna say something and it's really gonna like ruin your entire day. So I think yeah, you have to be very strong. Hi, that's for saying right. Hi,
Yes.
Boa. I don't know if you want to greet.
Yeah, and I get about that not wanting to be hyper visible because that is where I am still.
Oh,
It's always a push and pull for me because Capricorn, Scorpio
yeah.
moon. So it's just
Oh
kind of
yeah,
like,
you want to be like in the shadows, in
yeah,
the shadows.
like, hi, hi, I could see my face, hi. Yeah, but yeah, I really get that. Like when you are in the spotlight, people kind of like have an idea of who you are, and they try to force you into that idea of who you are instead of accepting you as who you are. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so you have to have a very strong sense of self. You have to be very grounded. You have to be like, whatever people call, just like understand yourself. Um, and people don't really, I don't know if people do this, but also understand that if you're on social media, like you do have the ability to put your phone down and walk away. I thought about it the other day. I was like, oh, wait, why would I argue? Like, I'm just gonna go beep and put my phone down.
Exactly. Yeah. Anything on your phone. Like funny story. Recently, I've been going to playing a game, and that game in the game inside it, there is chat box. Okay,
Yeah,
and well, when you have a chat box, people are going to say things, and sometimes they say things that is not really something that you agree with. And if you try to,
yeah,
show your opinions, they might not really be in the space to accept your opinion, and they attack you. So
yeah.
yeah, I literally went through that. I was like, am I going to reply this? I was like typed out the whole thing. And I was just like looking at that. I'm like, it's not worth my time. Close the app, put it down. I'm going to make coffee.
Yeah, that's exactly the mindset that I'm trying. I mean, I still struggle with it, especially if someone tries to take like personal jabs at you. It's not easy, but I am learning to just disengage. There's nothing because most of the time it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with how they're feeling, and you know, okay, that's
Exactly.
fine.
Yeah. Wow. I really love this part. And you're right. I was like mentioning I don't know whether anyone is watching today, but I think I saw one person over here. I think it's me. Um, like just let me read the comment below, shall we?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's me was saying that she just started her I think it's like spiritual business offering
Mhm.
birth chart reading and dream analysis, and she is happy to come across this. It takes a lot of courage to publicly comes out after secret doing this reading for people. Yeah.
Oh
And then she's
yay.
like, She was not sure when she started, but she would always do spiritual things privately. And like 3 years ago, she started coming out to a few person, and this year she just decided to come out, like decided that it is a rap and this is me. And yeah,
Exciting. Yeah, that's
so
awesome. No, congratulations on being so when in my first year of university, I came across this person on YouTube called Shameless Maya, and she didn't have a specific thing that she did. Like she was very like, I do photography and I do food and like she did whatever she wanted, she did on her YouTube. It was awesome. And since that time, and that was a long time ago, since that time, I'm still working on this. I've been working on being shameless. And I
I
think
see.
that obviously like shame or any emotions has some kind of value to it. Like there's a reason why it exists. And but there's this thing of just kind of like, hey, this is me, right? This is me, and take me or leave me. And I love that shamelessness. It really makes you feel so free. Because I was the type of person where like I grew up being very hyper visible, you know,
Mm.
I could go. Sometimes people are like, is this your real life? And I'm like, yeah. There were points where I would like go to the mall and people would come and like try and hug me and like talk to me. And I was just like, like, stop, stop looking at me. And so every time I was with people, I just wanted to like hide, you know, like I was like, oh my gosh. And now that I am very sure about myself, I'm sure about what I'm doing, whatever, I'm not afraid to come forward and be like, this is the person I am. So I think to that person, just like again, like remember why you're doing this. Be shameless. Be shameless in what you're doing. Always be open to obviously growing and changing as you go, but for the most part, like don't let anyone make you feel like you're weird. I don't know what's a bad word for that. Don't let them make you feel bad. I don't know if you
Exactly.
guys can see this, but like my cat is going literally crazy. He's going.
Oh,
He's so
I heard a
cute.
lot of noise. The cuties. Yeah, like I know how hard it is to kind of like come out as a what so-called wardrobe witch or wardrobe energy worker, tarot reader, whatever it is. Yeah, it is hard to come out. Like at first, I didn't dare to do that in my own when I was like living with my family at time. I didn't
Mm,
dare. I was
yeah,
like
me
trying to
too.
keep myself like quiet. I'm doing like candle ritual, but as soon as my mom is back, like you're not doing
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, it takes the courage like to you know to come out in like an environment especially that is not ready to accept who you are,
Oh
and
yeah.
they are likely going to comment something. They are likely going to make you feel like you are doing some evil dark things or something like that. Like my mom actually commented about that to me.
My mom did too. She was like, what is this thing? And she thought I was like, and I was like, Mom, relax. I actually like I had to like sit her down and be like, hey, just let me just explain. And she gets it now, but she at first she was just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. The demons and blah blah blah. And I was like, I don't deal with those.
Yeah.
But it is difficult because I thought I was gonna be burned at the stake. I was, oh no, like people are gonna look at me and think I'm a witch, and then they're gonna try and
Yeah.
and I wasn't sure how, especially because I'm in Botswana,
Mm.
so Africa, we
Mm.
still have a lot of views about magic and views
Mm.
about energy work. that are rooted in colonial, colonial views, and breaking out of that, or trying to be. So as soon as someone thinks of juju or muti, they think, they think blood rituals, they think sacrifices, they think of all these like very deep, like using it for bad things, hexing, like they think of all those things. And so we've kind of forgot about the light side and we've forgotten about the other side of spiritual work. And but it's been received really well, so I am getting like more like local clients now, because I did start out with like my international community, because I was like, oh, they're probably gonna accept me more. But recently it's been like very well received. People are like, I need to come and get a reading from you. I'm like, yes. I'm literally gonna buy I am guys, book some readings with me so that I can buy a table. Because this table is not very good. I just want to buy a nice table so I can do my readings.
Exactly. Yes. And if anyone interested in booking a reading with Taff, you can find her on Twitter, the tribe goddess.
Yes.
Yeah, and I will link her in the description box later, guys. Like,
yay, thank you.
yeah. I mean, I have kind of like similar, but I think my country is not as accepting about it yet. That kind. So some of the clients that found me, interestingly, they could be like from around my countries, or the neighborhood countries, but they are not living here. It's kind of like they're from Australia. That they kind of like moved to Australia, moved to the US, moved to the UK, and then they're working there, and then they're more open-minded about energy. And then they put with me, and it's just like very interesting. Like, yeah, and you can see like the growth from mostly younger generation, but like older generation are open up as well. Like my mom is doing meditation now, and I'm just like, I'm so proud.
Oh my gosh. Okay, my mom goes to the beach in every morning. Like, she tries to go to the beach every morning to do yoga, and I was like, oh my gosh, this was awesome. Like, she just started doing it. I was like, yes, let's go. Like, and she recently she actually asked me about like transmuting energy, because she met someone who was a Buddhist, and she was like, this is so interesting, let me go ask my daughter. And so now I'm like the resident spiritualist of the family now. It's so fun.
Exactly. It is amazing. Like, wow, it's just like you can see the growth, even maybe they're not aware of the growth.
Yeah, they don't have, they have no idea, but it's it's significant. So I love that for both of us and both of them.
Totally deserve, like, they deserve healthier lifestyle as well, because I think spiritually, when you are living with spirit, living in line with spirit, you are automatically going to get healthier as well.
Oh yeah. And my mom is actually disabled. So for me, like, health has always been such a big thing for her as well, just like in life, as trying to get her, back to optimal health. And so seeing her going and doing all these things, it makes me so excited to know that she's good, she's okay. And yeah, she posted on Instagram. She called me one day just to tell. She was like, Taff, you need to help me with Instagram. How do I Instagram? I was like, yes.
I love that. Yeah. My mom tried to ask me about how to use Facebook, how to use Twitter, and I'm just like, I can't really help you.
Okay, I can't have them on Twitter. That one is my space, please.
Yeah,
she's gonna watch this and be like, I'm signing up for Twitter. No, I'm kidding. She probably won't care.
Yeah, I love that. I love that for your mom. Like, growth is always amazing. Health is always amazing. Like, love that. Like, the world is changing. Like, even though we don't know it, like very
Yeah, I
obvious.
mean, it feels like the world's gonna end soon, but like, I don't know. For some reason, I'm so hopeful for the
Same.
world. I'm still very much, but I mean, there were times where I wasn't, there were times where I was just like, what's the point of anything?
Mm.
But I think that understanding that there's so many possibilities to this life, understanding that this life is not our only life, like it really opens you up to feeling more motivated about being alive. So hopeful.
I love that. Yay. I'm always going to celebrate. Like this is one of the things that I'm doing. Like I'm celebrating on everything, every small achievement, because
Oh yeah.
it really helps you to bring more positivity in a way, like into your life.
Oh yeah, no, I will, do something as mundane as, cooking, which is not like my favorite thing. And I'll be like, I'll make my meal and I'm like, yeah. And then I'll like try and reward myself, or I'll be like, woo, like I get like excited. I'm like, yeah, I just finished my assignment. I just, finished this work, and I'll be like, woo, like I get like excited about all the little things. I'm like, woo, took a shower. Yeah, like we love it. You have to be your own cheerleader for real. You
Yes.
have to be. I can't wait for anybody else to be like, good job. Like,
Mm. Yes. Especially for right now, since we are like kind of like walking a different path than a lot of people, so we
yeah.
can't count on people around us to cheer us on. We are not running. We are not doing like marathon. We are not running for president. We are not, doing some saving the world thing. So
Mm.
yeah, we have to be our own cheerleader.
Oh, 100%.
Part of the job.
I just need pom-poms.
I'm seeing it's me here. She's from Kenya.
Oh,
Kenya.
nice. Hi.
Neighbor, I guess. Is it country?
No, 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 not at all. So
um,
Kenya is in East Africa. Botswana is in Southern Africa. So
mm,
it is a ways away.
I sucks at geography, so pardon me.
That's
My
fine. That's fine.
geography, I have to say my geography education is up until the Asia area and didn't go away from that, like literally. So
Yeah,
pardon me.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Fair, fair, fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I love our conversation so far. But yeah, I'm kind of like coming to a blank. Like,
No,
what
I think that we have talked about so much. I am feeling like a closing.
mm,
But I'll just say this, that like I think we all have the strength. We all have the strength to build our integrity. We all have that. And I think that it's worth looking into if you haven't done so already. And that will be my last little tidbit.
I love I love that. And I just feel like adding to that is that integrity is really nothing that anyone can teach you or tell you, because
Yeah.
whatever other people can tell you, it is their integrity, and that might not align to yourself. So be your own judge, be your own be your own person to decide
Own
what
person,
is
yeah.
integrate for you, what is the right thing for you. I think that is the most perfect, and that applies to life, that applies to business, that applies to love, relationship, and everything.
I fully agree. Yeah.
Awesome. Please, thank you for joining me once again, Taff. I really,
Oh
really love our
no, thank you. I love our combos. Yeah, they're just so natural. And I enjoy them a lot. So thank you for the honor. Honestly, like being invited on things, I'm like,
love to have you on here. So feel free to poke me anytime you have an interesting idea. I'm always open to that.
Yeah, no, I'm down.
Yes, thank you. Thank you once again, and thank you to Ismi and everyone who has joined us on live, who is watching this replay. Feel free to comment, and if you have any question, you can comment there. If I can answer or Taff can answer, we will be answering you. And yeah, I will share Taff links on the description below. Anything that you like to promote about yourself, anything you're running, any special, anything.
It is special. I recently, so I do on my coffee account, I do have memberships where you can subscribe every month and you get discounts on readings. You can get like free reading. And I also just post very exclusive content for my members. So if you're interested in that, I just reduced my price. Well, I couldn't sleep and Spirit was like, reduce your prices. And I was like, okay. And so I just reduced my prices. But I'm actually really happy that I did. And so definitely go check that out on my coffee. I'll give Paige the link to that. And yeah.
Yes, awesome. So yeah, and I'm looking forward to see you soon as well.
Yes. Bye.
Talking to
Thank
you. Talking to you on DMs. See
Yes.
you.